Thank you so much for staying tuned to today's edition of Politics Today. I am Wilson Marshall. Quickly, we'll dive into what is happening and what we're going to focus in on today's edition of Politics Today. You know that the Anambra Governorship is taking place even as we speak right now. We have close to not over 16 candidates. Yes, vying for the number one spot. 16 or thereabouts vying for number one spot. Parties, the candidates are talking about it, saying it's going to be a clash of the titans in the sense that Governor Chukwuma Soludo has sworn allegiance to the APC, to Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but in a sudden twist, or turn so to speak, APCOs in Anambra State, they are fielding, Nicholas Ukachukwu. And people are asking this question, what is at stake? We have Moghalu also on the LP, and it just goes on and on. I think there's a female candidate also. But the big question now is, with all these heavyweights, all these power brokers, so to speak, in Anambra State, vying for a single position, which is the government house, or the number one man of that particular state, how do you think that coming out in this election will be a good testament for the INEC chairman? That is the angle to this particular discussion. These are the three power brokers, Soludo, Moghalu, Ukachukwu. We have 13 orders or 14 orders, power brokers. But with me here in the studio to talk about this, Professor Anthony Ijewere. Prof, thank you so much for joining us on this platform, Prof.
It's a great pleasure to be here.
All right. And of course, I have a human rights activist, Emmanuel Ogbidi. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much, and good morning, listeners and viewers at home.
All right. Yesterday, sensitive materials were sent to the CBN Anambra State. Of course, this morning to be dispatched to various local government, various wards and various units. The battle is on for who will be the number one man in Anambra State. As some pundits of the opinion that there is this conflict of interest between the APC and, of course, ABGA. I want you to take it up from here, Prof. What do you feel about all this show?
Well, it's interesting. I think Nigerians are very sensitive to the election in Anambra State, especially when we have a new INEC national chairman in the helm of affairs. So people are expecting various changes, to reflect the character, the capacity of the new INEC chairman in view of the CV he has presented to Nigerians and the entire world. So people are expecting that things will change for the better. And I would also expect that he should do something drastic so that the INEC office can depart from the past, of election irregularities, problem with voting, snatching of ballot boxes, and elections where people will vote and a different result will be announced, and all that and all that. I think he has to depart from the past. And so we expect that he should be seriously involved in this election because it's the first acid test of his capacity and capability. But the signals we are getting so far doesn't seem to be reflecting that for now, especially when INEC promised that by 8, election will start, kick off. But signals we are getting, shows that election have not started at all. So I don't think that's a good development for a new man in the helms of affairs of INEC. I think as we progress in this discussion, we shall look at other aspects.
Well, what do you feel about this particular arrangement? Talked about acid test for Amopita, but people like saying that beyond Amopita, it is in the hands of Anambarians to make sure that this election is what is onions.
Okay, thank you very much. The fact still remains that the Anambra election is not we are not going to be seeing much difference from other off-cycle elections that have been held even in the time of the last administration of Mahmoud. He is just coming in, and majority of the things that have been put in place were not put by him. It's just to, oversee these, events of the election. One thing is still very sure is that the issue of the build-up to the elections of today's election in Anambra State suggests the fact that majority of Nigerians still do not have confidence in our electoral umpire and the electoral system. And that suggests the fact that many are going to be boycotting the election. There will be low turnout of voters, as speculators are projected to have about 11% of total registered voters in Anambra coming out. The issue of insecurity is there, and in a lot of places in Anambra, people are still very much afraid, because of the build-up and all of the tensions. And like Prof said, if there is delay in the delivery of sensitive materials to locations of votes as at this time, then that suggests either the incompetence of the electoral umpire, or suggests that there is still the usual factors that characterize our electoral system manifesting in all of this today. And if the new INEC chairman has said that this will be, a way of testing his capacity, it's just a mere statement. But for some of us, the real litmus test that we want to give to the new INEC boss, and we want him to know, it's not just the Anambra election, because many of us can predict the Anambra election as it is today due to the fact that the incumbent has pledged loyalty to the power at the center and all of that. The litmus test we are giving to him is the electoral reforms before 2027. He should be able to push an electoral reform that makes electronic transmission of results mandatory for INEC. That is one. And the election that is a litmus test to him is not the election of Chukwuma Soludo in Anambra. It's the election of the one who has appointed him, the 2027 election. We want to see a different narrative between the 2023 election and the 2027 election that is ahead of us. So beyond this off-cycle election, we want to see activities. He should sit down and look at the necessary reforms that need to happen before the 2027 election. This should be a lesson for him. It shouldn't actually be his legacy. It should be a lesson. Let him sit down and see what actually characterized the elections in Anambra. The issue of security, we heard that the commissioner in charge of the Anambra election, the deployment of security personnel, to the Anambra election, the restriction of movement and all of that. We should begin to see reforms that bring suggestions and innovation that can reduce the humongous amount we spend on security just to conduct an election. During the crisis in Rivers State, an election was held without police as an agency participating, and the election was very peaceful. We should move beyond mobilization of security. We see that as what is it called, appreciation for the boys, or appreciation for security agents, mobilizing them for every election. It is beyond that. We should be able to conduct elections where snatching of ballot paper is a wastage, where carrying guns on election day we amount to nothing. So that is the angle, and that is the aspect we are looking at, and we want to prep the new chairman to engage in beyond today's election in Anambra.
All right, let's now get to hear from Bishop Osadolo Oche, a clergyman, and of course a right activist, joining us via Zoom. Bishop, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Wixon. God bless you.
All right, sir. So what do you feel about what is happening right now in Anambra? So we feel as getting to us that most units don't have electoral materials as we speak.
Well, I will not be indifferent from what my colleagues have just said, that maybe there is a hand of Esau and the voice of Jacob and the hand of Esau in the matter, maybe, because I'm not there on the ground to give actual report. But be that as it may, I'm looking at our past and where we are going to. That in our past, people do snatch buses, people run into the bush to write result and submit. But I think we have gone past that one now. That if you snatch bus, you have not done anything at all, because the whole thing is computerized. So if they are using beavers to accredit and to vote, we're expecting that the beavers should tell us the truth and nothing but the truth. By the officers of the INEC who are appointed as ad hoc staff doing what is properly in the guideline given to them. They were all trained, and they said, no, that whatever they do today is a thorn they have caught and thrown to the front. If they don't watch, the thorn will harm them. If they watch, they'll be able to overcome the thorn. So the Anambra State election, from what I'm getting, is that INEC staffs are on the ground, but the only persons that are not yet there in some unit is security agent and the people that are going to cast their vote. What that point to, as far as my brain can carry me, is that they are lost confidence on the Anambra election because of insecurity. Nobody wants to gamble with his own dear life given to him by God and God alone. So if that is the position, it is now becoming watch and look and watch before you take step. Maybe by the time they see people trooping in and out, they can also change their mind that, oh, it means this thing is really true, that there is election in Anambra State, that the offshoot of court or whatever election, off-cycle election is going on. But as it is now, they can do with what they have until the situation changes. And the pressmen are already there monitoring to inform us minute by minute what is going on in Anambra State. So for now, that is my dear contribution. Later, I still have something to say, but if you say I should continue, I can do. Do I continue, Wilson?
We'll get back to you, Bishop. We'll get back to you. We'll get back to you. Now, let me go right out to Professor Anthony Jewelry. Now, if you take a look at the situation right now in Anambra State, yes, some of the opinion that ballot papers are not in some units. Others are saying that they have these high voters apathy, so to speak. Now, putting all these factors together, do you feel that Anambra election, knowing fully well that INEC is on the ground, but voters are not on the ground, it is going to be the true test for the new INEC boss?
You see, Wilson, that's what I said earlier. You see, when the new INEC chairman boss was, after his meeting with the president, President Tinubu, and when he came out, press people took him up and now say, hi, how is it going to look like? In fact, they specifically pointed out Anambra's case, that the next election was his plan for the election. And he said, I've not been briefed. By the time he's briefed, that will be in a better position to know what to do and how to, approach the election. So by implication, is assumed that by now he should have been briefed. He should have been briefed. And if he has been briefed, and I expect that he should put things in place to be able to ensure that a new sheriff in town is different from the old sheriffs in town, you know. And so there's no excuse of saying that he's still new on the job, therefore, you know, we expect that there have to be some bottleneck. No, 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 because of all the people government had in mind, they saw him as the most capable, you know, to lead the INEC, you know, agency. So if he's the one that is most capable, then he should be able to do his own work. And coming to your question specifically, I think by now, we expect that the government should put the right security in place. The voter apathy, we are not too surprised in view of these, you know, activities of IPOB, and the rest of them, you know, because we all know what they're agitating for. They're agitating for different countries entirely. And so conducting election by the Nigerian state, you know, may not be too comfortable with them, you know, because the Biafra agitation. So we expect that government should know this, our security agents should know this, and put the right security architecture in place to checkmate it. And so that is one aspect of the security. So, and I believe that government should do much in that direction to give assurance to voters. Then the second aspect is the fact that individuals involved in this election, they have their boys, they have their men on ground, their foot soldiers, you know, who are competing among themselves as to who is the most powerful candidate, you know, that can bulldoze his way, you know, and ensure that he or she wins the election, because there's a female candidate there.
Yes.
He or she wins the election. And so in that case, they use a lot of what? Finance to be able to achieve it, you know. They dish out money to not just individuals, including some security agents, you know, who collect this money and go for the highest bidder. If the courts, though there may not be exact evidence, we all know that the courts also, to some extent, also go for the highest bidder in this country.
Oh, well, you just can't substantiate that.
Yes, but that's why I said there's no but.
Yeah.
We all know, in the alleged, let me use the word alleged.
Yes.
You know, you see, so I think to that extent, you know, INEC should be very sensitive as to individuals buying votes, you know, through financial inducement, you know, which is not the best. So how do we check the security lapses? Security lapses is not just the human factor.
We'll come to that later in course
yes.
of the show.
Yes.
We'll come to that. All right, we'll come to that. Now,
yes.
let's leave INEC, because we've spoken much about INEC. We will return after this break. We'll take a look at the candidate, because some of the opinion that this election is between APC and APGA.
Afghan, yes.
So we want to really test this theory if it's true. They gave good reasons, but what about other political parties? After we have 14 Nigerian political parties taking part in this election, how come they have the opinion that is between APC and APGA vis-a-vis APC and APC? We'll come back after this break. Don't go away. Thank you much for staying tuned. Joining us right now is a legal practitioner, notary, right? Notary public. Yes, lots and lots of feathers on your cap.
Yes.
Well, welcome, Barrister Patrick Isekweni. I appreciate you being here. All right. Now, let me go to Emmanuel Ogidi. Like what I said before I went on that break, someone is saying this election is just between APC and APGA. Others now coin it to say it's between APC adopted son and APC real son. Now, how are you going to paint it? Because Nicholas is fitted by the APC. So Lulu on the other hand has, you know, pledged allegiance to the APC. So how is it going to be?
Yeah, I think for those commentary must be coming from those who are on ground, the Indian Anambra, the way they normally refer to they refer to it. Yes. The fact still remains that one could begin to say that there are two major contestants in this election. One, because election in this country is expensive. Somebody have argued before that one of the way to win election, or the 3 ways to win election, is money. And the number 2 ways is more money. And the number 3 ways is another more money. So if you look at the build-up of the election, what are the activities? What are the mobilization strength of the various political parties? And mind you, considering the economic situation of this country, mobilization is tied to funding. Every campaign you attend, the mobilization of men and materials, resources and equipment, and in covering the entire 21 local government of Anambra State. So people want to measure them as to how much has flowed through these candidates. And one of these candidates, remember, is the incumbent, have access to the resources of the state. And the other one is the ruling party, have access to funding and all what have you. So those ones that have not been able to flex their financial muscles, sometimes people just look at it and say, these ones are not serious. They are not part of the contestant. Why it is also very obvious that some of these major contestants, they are funding some other smaller political parties who knows they are going nowhere. They are just to endorse the result at the end of the election. So people just look at this one, they say they are not serious. And if you also look at the body language of the incumbent governor vis-a-vis his relationship to Bola Ahmed Tinubu, many people will argue that he is tied to the apron string of the federal government, hence referred to as the first son, or the son, the political son, or adopted son of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Why the APC candidate is there, just also to try his best. Perhaps negotiations and discussion has gone behind the scene. So these are the reasons why many a times people don't want to look at those other political parties and candidates that are on the race. They want to see the 2 major ones, or they refer to them as the 2 major candidates, the incumbent governor and the
Nicholas Nwachukwu, the APC
which
candidate.
is the APC candidate.
Yes.
And the reasons is also very clear, because we know election in this country right now is to a very large extent how much of the power at the center and the influence at the center you can mobilize to yourself. Because security agencies, they are going to watch the body language of Mr. President. The INEC himself, they watch the body language of the ruling party. Some may not agree. Some may not agree with that is the reality on ground. Whether they agree or not, we have seen that the major factors are not determining elections until reforms comes that can change the narrative. Right. Major factors that now determines election is the body language of Mr. President and the ruling party.
But they may deny that, saying it's not true. I'll come back to you, Emmanuel Budiwal. Not Republic, sir. Welcome to this panel. Now, we're talking about Anambra State General Election, what's at stake. Pick it up from where Emmanuel left off, talking about the adopted son and the real son. Does that mean that APC will fight against APC? Because people are liking ABGA right now to APC because of their allegiance sworn to Mr. President by the Anambra State Governor Chukwuma Soludo.
I think I disagree with my colleague here on that issue. See, election takes different dimension. Despite that both parties, the candidates, they have close relationship with the president. You see, when it comes to election, such as this, everybody has to bear his name. There's no amount of closeness. The only thing the president can do is that, oh, since you are my adopted son, and this is my party, that if first a lawyer to go to his party, it's his party, APC, go to the field. I will not intervene. Whoever have it, take it. That's the only thing the president can do. That does not give the APC man to go and start sleeping. Because it's my incumbent, the current president is my father. The party or the party of the ABGA, because my loyalty with the president. No. Whoever have it, the president will not want to interfere because they are in his good book. Whoever have it, takes it. So one thing I disagree that there is always need for any of them to strive to get it. You must work hard. I know both of them, there is money. Don't worry about money. But the most important thing is the body language of the president. The president will not interfere at all. It will not. Since both parties, they are loyal to him as far as it's concerned. Whoever have it, he will work with them on his own.
So meaning there's no interference?
No, I don't see, because of the president, because of the relationship between the president and these two candidates. Like I said, he felt like to go to his party, APC. But then there's also called the relationship with the other Afghan man. The worst thing he can do is to stay clear. Whoever have it is okay by it.
All right, now let's get to hear the opinion of Bishop Osadolo Ochepi. Agrees with the points you guys were. Though Emmanuel said they are taking a look at the body language of Mr. President, and of course Barrister Patrick said it's not true. After all, he might not intervene because of the closeness both candidates are to him, so to speak. So Bishop, what do you feel about this?
Patrick, it has been a while since last year. That as it may, he has spoken the right things that happen in Nigerian system. The president have a right to adopt anybody, but his first allegiance goes to his and after his candidate before any other person. So that is the basic truth. We will not interfere by any means to this thing because of the love and relationship we have with these two candidates, the AGA candidate Soludo and the APC candidate. So it's going to be a real fight to conquer. Whoever emerges becomes his candidate. The other one will really know that he never interfered. You know, in politics, it's negotiation. They may have negotiated to the point, because I was not there, that's why I'm saying they may. But as a bishop that goes talk to, they have concluded that aspect, that if you don't have it, don't bother, we look for alternative. So if that is the promise, Soludo may not fight to finish. He may subpedal in some areas to be able to ensure that the APC candidate emerge in this election. So any other person have right to do similar thing. Like I have witnessed over time, I witnessed elections since 1963 to today in this country.
Sorry for interjecting. You said Soludo will soft pedal when he's the incumbent governor vying for the second term. Is that what your opinion is right now, Bishop?
Yes, that's the real fact, not just my opinion. It's the real statement of fact.
Are you there, Bishop? Bishop, are you there? All right, when we establish contact with Bishop, definitely we'll continue. There's a controversy here, even as we're sitting right now. Bishop said Soludo might just step down, soft pedal before the APC. Patrick, Barrister, our legal practitioner, said President will not interfere. While Emmanuel said that, look, they are looking at the body language of Mr. President. Prof, what's your take on this?
You see, let's be real. Even though NBC is controlling whatever we say here, but let's be realistic.
No, they don't control, they regulate. They're doing their job.
Okay, they regulate.
They're doing their job.
Okay, whatever.
All right.
Okay. Let's be realistic with this situation. Afghan, if you look at the trend of elections in Anambra State, they have not lost election once.
Yes.
So that is fundamental. They've not lost any election once. And so, by implication, Soludo have an edge in that area. And so it will be difficult for any other political party to go there and win election, but it's not impossible. But we are saying that this Afghan thing is also attached to the former great leader of Biafra, Odumegwu Ojukwu, and they believe somehow that is the political party he has anointed. And in view of that, the average Anambarian believe that when any person that's vying for the position of governorship you know, is as good as you will get it, because these are the people that are going to do the voting anyway.
It's like their own party.
Yes, it's their own party at the end of the day, you know. So if you take that into consideration, it's going to be difficult for another political party, you know, to defeat the incumbent governor, not because in view of his performance, but in view of the fact that that party has a traditional background, you know, of the people. But we're also aware that the president must have an interest, because his own party is also contesting the election. We remember in the case of Edo, the statement that was made by the president. I said, look, do you people want Edo State? And the people said, of course, the people said, why not? Yes, and all that. And we know the implication of that statement.
So we say there's a political campaign strategy.
Oh, yes, a political campaign strategy. But at the end of the day, we all saw what happened. But let's leave matter for Matthias. The point I'm still making is that the incumbent president has an interest. And there's no election in Nigeria that is free and fair. It's very difficult. There's no election in Nigeria that is free and fair. Let's take that home. It is very, very clear. Right. And that is why we're saying that the best way to cut off all these election problems, malpractices, and the real individual not winning is to put revive the electoral system, put a system in place that will check rigging, that will check influence of the ruling party, that will check the power of money. And what are we talking about? Electoral voting system. And it should really be implemented. Yes, it should really be implemented.
Thank you.
You know, not at the end of the, while in the process of implementing it, you say glitches.
All right, thank you.
Know, and all that and all that.
Thank you
So
so much. Well, right now, we have to drop this ball here right now. Not